Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Yes, good evening and welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Just before I bring out my esteemed guests for this evening's Top of the Kops, episode 36, I think it is now. Before I do that, a little housekeeping reminder to please give us some love tonight. Show us some comments, show us some likes. And of course, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Kop TV. But listen, got a great show tonight. Let's waste no more time in introducing my guest. He's recently just interviewed many Liverpool players, including the captain, Jordan Henderson, and the waviest young scouser about Curtis Jones. He's a presenter for Versus. It's my bro, Mayowa. How are we doing, my bro?
What's good, bro? I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, man. Thanks for coming on tonight. Listen, there's no room to imagine who you support when you're wearing a jumper like that. And we will get into your team, Chelsea, later. Of course, that is from the 2009 exit in the Champions League. Barcelona. There you go. Great night for everyone else apart from a Chelsea fan, to be honest. And Ali A does have a question for you already, bro. Just a quick one off the bat, and a great shout here from Ali A. Keep getting your questions in for us both, and we will answer them as the show goes on. But off the top of your head, bro, what players do you need for Chelsea? I mean, let's go in positions first, I guess.
It's a good question. When you look at how we play at the moment, you kind of need that goal scorer that just wants to score goals, nothing else. And like everyone's always really striker, just 25, 30 goals a season. That's all I want to do, because we put the ball into good positions, but we just don't convert. We don't have potency. And of course, when you say goal scorer, there's only one sort of person you're kind of really looking at in this market. I don't know if he would come, but I know my club's the type of club that will put the money on the table for him. If we could get Haaland, oh my word.
Listen, we'll get into Haaland later on. What a player he is, by the way. But there is someone I reckon you could buy. I'm trying to think of his name. He used to actually play for you. It's called Mo Salah. Maybe you shouldn't have sold him. But yes, there you go. There's the first question under the belt. Love that. Right, let's get into the first topic of the football roundup section of the show. And that is, of course, reacting to the last night, Liverpool's win away at Wolves. A lot better away from home than we have been at home. Were you watching the game last night, bro?
Yeah, I did. I caught most of it. And it was... It's interesting because, of course, Liverpool are not the Liverpool they were last season. But results like that, you just take them. You take them and you run away as quickly as you can. It's kind of like get in, get out. Because, you do look short of confidence. You're not scoring. But like you said, being away seems to be better. I mean, some of your fans were even joking about saying that your home win in the Champions League, even though it was wherever it was your first home win and it was good. That just shows you how much being at that stadium, because of all of the results that's happened, is affecting you. So, I mean, fair play, and all it takes is a few results, and you guys are back in that sort of making sure you get Champions League football next season. So, good result for you guys.
Yeah, in the title tonight, I have put Kabak and Philllips till the end of the season ? I mean, obviously, if any Liverpool fan could choose an ideal centre-back pair, it wouldn't be any of those guys. It would be Joe Gomez, maybe Matip, but definitely Van Dijk. And I think because they've all been injured for so long, it's almost like we forgot that they exist. And now it's like, well, Nat Phillips, Kabak and Ben Davis, they're our fit centre-backs now. And that's what we have to kind of work with until the end of the season. So for me personally, I'm really happy with how Kabak has bounced back in the last couple of games. Nat Phillips last night, excellent. And between them, really, either of them could have won man of the match. And it even goes to show, when Nat Phillips is your wallpaper on your phone now, that's when you know he's doing well. And Aids of the Kop here says Nat would head a nuke. He was actually interviewed recently, and they said if it meant you would get a clean sheet if you had to slide tackle your nan, would you do that? And he said, listen, the clean sheet's important. Nan's getting slid. So yeah, Nat's fully involved. But from your perspective, looking at it from the outside, is this Liverpool's best partnership we can now see going towards the end of the season?
I don't think it's the best partnership, but it's
Considering what we have available.
I don't think it's the best, but I think it allows you to be better because one would argue that Fabinho can do really well there. However, he is better in front of that in defense. Like he can do a sick job there, and he could play with anyone else. But him being elsewhere is probably more to the betterment of your team. So with those two at the back, the thing I worry about is with Nat Phillips, he's one of these. He's like a proper old school defender. He'll header it, he'll kick it, and he can do that. But it will get to times in games where that's not going to bail you out. And I always call it this thing with A and B centre backs. I don't think he's an A or maybe even a B centre back. You need that centre back that's going to be imperious, leader, control the back line. I don't think either of them have that. And what I think makes it worse is with Kabak, he's come from a situation where he's played in the league where they don't even defend anyway. His team was shipping in goals. He's very young. To now come into this environment where his team's not on form, even if he's had a good game last night, I still feel like he's going to need a lot to kind of turn him into, okay, you know what, this is my defense. So there's always going to be worries there that if you get a centre forward that can really take it to one of them, it becomes a different situation. Then the other one is covering for the other one, and then it just all becomes a rebel. And then to make it worse, of course, Alisson, we know Alisson's a great goalkeeper, but recently his form's not been there. So if you know your goalkeeper's not 100%, and then between the back two, you think one not that great, the span of your defense essentially it's a little bit shaky. So but I think it can do all right, but I feel like you're gonna have to go back to that sort of old school. Was it kind of Coutinho days where it was about if we score more than we concede, then
I would say the 2013-14 season, it was if you score 3, we'll have to score 4.
Yeah.
And that was the way, but that isn't a sustainable way of playing football. And I think when you're faced in a position where Nat Phillips and Kabak are your starters, really, at this stage, I mean, yes, Fabinho can play there, but trust me, 100% of Liverpool fans do not want Fabinho to ever play centre-back for Liverpool ever again, through no fault of his own. But when you are faced with that kind of predicament where they're your only two, you just got to put a load of faith in them, because realistically, they're never going to get this opportunity again, maybe in their careers. This is a real once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the pair of them, especially with both of their ages, to be able to actually be the two that are leading that central defensive line. And I think at this stage, I think Nat Phillips has taken the opportunity with both hands. And I think he actually sits around and realizes that if you fast forward 2 or 3 years, is he going to be playing for Liverpool? Who knows? So he's soaking every single ounce of the glory out of the situation, and you have to respect that. But with Kabak, he's come in. Listen, he's only 20, bro. So he's going to get a lot better. But at the same time, I think he's doing well at the minute. And listen, the season is still long. It's probably 10 to 15 games left of it if we have a really good season. So a lot of ups and downs will happen. But right now, as we stand and sit here, I would say I'm happy. But as again, you said, come 4 games, 5 games, 6 games in, we're going to be playing against different players. And will they deal with it? I guess time will tell. The
good thing is, if you keep both of them, they can build somewhat a relationship, which is just your centre backs have not been able to do this season because you've had to chop and change. And of course, one of the hardest bits I do kind of feel for them is because the season's so compressed and you're playing games. Well, to be fair, we have a little break at the moment, so they could kind of develop and learn and coach and everything. But because the games are moving so thick and fast, it's between 2 and 3 days before you're playing again. So it's limited training. You guys have been injured all the time, so I'm sure it's about making sure you guys not running into more injuries. They're probably not getting a lot of time actually together to kind of develop that. So
do you know what though?
This tail end, hopefully for you guys anyway. I mean, if it didn't happen, I'd be more than happy. But hopefully for you guys, if they can build a relationship, if they can play out their skin, because it's almost about, for Kabak, I want to stay here, and for Phillips, I want to stay here. But if I don't stay here, I want to get a Premier League move. You never know. It might turn into something somewhat decent, but it's a big ask.
It is a big ask, and in the back of both of their minds, they're going to be in the shop window somewhat, because Kabak's only on loan. And if Liverpool don't sign him, he's gone, well, I've played for Liverpool for 6 months. Someone will take me if I've played well. And Phillipps as well is 24. And when Virgil comes back, when Joe Gomez comes back, when Matip comes back, is he going to be around? Again, he's got to put himself in the shop window and say, any clubs that want to try and buy me, look what I've been doing. I've been playing for Liverpool, heading the shit out of it. So listen, I love that. Everyone who is getting questions right now, by the way, we are going to dedicate some time to answer all of those. Some really good Chelsea fans there, and a lot of love coming in tonight. Welcome to the Chelsea fans.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
This is the kind of audience we've got, bro. We've got a very nice and knowledgeable audience, and they know what they're talking about. Ant Dicko actually reckons that Davis will be sold in the summer, but then he also says we won our 5th European Cup with a far worse team. And there's another comment there from Ed of the Kop, who does corroborate there with what Mayowa said, saying that we don't play for 3 weeks now. We're not playing till April the 3rd against Arsenal, and some more questions there as well. But let's touch now on your big game. Is it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Tomorrow night. Chelsea versus Atletico de Madrid in London. Is it in London, this one?
I'm not
It
too
won't
sure.
be, will it? I think it might be Budapest.
COVID, so it's probably the same Budapest sort of situation you guys got going on.
Probably the Budapest. I mean, listen, the first leg, what a result for Chelsea. I was watching that game and I really was underwhelmed, to be honest, by Atletico Madrid. I mean, as we all know, they are top of the La Liga this season. But there was something about that game that just made me think back to a really kind of defensive Simeone performance that we've seen down the line that usually pays off. But knowing that they've lost the first leg 1-0, he'll be absolutely chomping at the bit to kind of put that right in the second leg. And if Suarez does turn up on the night, if João Felix does turn up, it could be a tough night for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting is...
Oh, it's at the Bridge, apparently. It is. Yassine says it's at the Bridge.
So. City Game's not in the UK. They're in Budapest.
Okay, sweet.
The reason why that game was so interesting is because coming into it, Atleti, even though they were top of the table, I think they had only lost 4 games that season at that point. They had just lost a cup game. I think it was to, is it Elche or Getafe? One of these.
Yeah.
And then they had been conceding more than they usually concede. Jimenez was out. And when you looked at it, you kind of thought if there was a perfect time to play these guys, it will be right now, because they're not high flying like they were. Madrid were clipping at their heels. It's not that they were in free fall, but their form had slightly tailed off a bit, that sort of pace they were going at. And that game, it was really weird, because the first sort of 10 minutes, I thought, hold on, it could be a bit spooky. And then they just weren't offering that sort of offense that you'd think they would. And then Suarez, for all of the form he had been in, wasn't looking like the Suarez that was in the Premier League that was just going to cane all the teams. And I feel like because we had so much possession and we was building, and like I'm saying, if we had a number nine, we would have scored so many chances that night. But the great thing for me in that game in particular was, one thing we've lacked for a lot of the season is a moment of magic, something that can just happen like that. Giroud gives us that with a bicycle kick. You get your goal, and this leg is going to be interesting now, because the impetus is on them to come and try and get their goals. If any Chelsea fan is looking at our recent form, you're thinking, well, it's very unlikely, or I don't want to believe we're going to concede 2, because we're hardly conceded. So we have a real big chance here. And I've been saying it a lot. When Tuchel came into the job, I was a bit skeptical, because I didn't think he was like amongst the top managers. I was a bit questionable with the whole PSG thing. And I think part of that was because it's very hard to judge what success is at PSG. Like, he got to a Champions League final, but I felt like in terms of the team he built and things there, I was like, hold on, I'm not too sure. Of course, there was a few things like some of the things he did at Dortmund. I thought, okay, his style is a bit, he's very methodical and he's a very good coach. But is he going to really want to take us to that level where we're competing with Pep Guardiola? Because that's what Chelsea is. We have to compete at the top. And so far, you can't fault what he's done. He's come into a situation and he said, you know what, I'm going to make us hard to beat. I'm going to make sure I can see all of the players, and I'm going to make sure I just keep moving forward because I want to try and win a trophy, and we have to get top 4. He got sacked from a job where he got to the Champions League final because in that job, they said, if you don't achieve greatness, you get sacked. Very similar to
literally, bro. It's so true.
Literally, same as Chelsea. So I know that he, not just that he feels the pressure, but he understands how Chelsea are. And I mean, this is someone that got to the final last year. He's going to want to do what he needs to do to get through. So I am confident for that game. I'm confident that he can carry out a game plan. I know we've got suspensions, but I'm confident that all it takes is us to score one goal.
Who's suspended for that one, bro?
We've got Mount suspended and Jorginho. So
see, that's big. I didn't know that, to be honest. That is big.
Yeah. It means that Kovacic and Kante will be playing.
Fairly defensive. I mean, but the thing is with this lineup that you're going to put out, with Kovacic and Kante playing, that does invite pressure on. And I think with two holding, you would probably go, well, actually, we're trying to defend the lead. So that does make sense, having both of those defensive midfielders playing. But with no Mount, who's gonna take his place on the night? Because Ziyech, really, if we're all being honest, failed to really impress everyone so far. Pulisic is around. Who can maybe take that Mount berth?
So it's funny because one player that has been thriving, getting somewhere, showing us something after so long of not seeing him, has been Havertz, but that's been in that false 9.
Yeah,
that's been in that false 9 position. It's not been in that sort of 8. So if you looked at it, you'd probably think, okay, he's going to drop in there, and then we play a front 3. That's probably what I would think would happen. But this is Thomas Tuchel. I mean, he could, maybe go 4 at the back. He could flip it anyway. But to me, from what we've got, that would make the most logical sense. Put him in there, and hopefully he can try to emulate that sort of work ethic and desire that Mount gives you. And that's not just all that Mount gives you, of course, but because his standards are so high in terms of what he does with that and the pride he carries out everything he does with, he's just everywhere in that regard. So yeah, it's a big game for players. And of course, whoever plays in that number 9 position has to bury for us. We can't have another game where we're squandering 10 chances, because if we know anything, we know that Suarez can score a goal. We know that João Felix is a good player. So, yeah, we've got to do what we need to do.
Yeah, listen, guys, if you do want us to definitely read out a comment on the spot, don't forget you can drop a little super chat and support the channel. But we will show you some of the predictions for this game. Jamie Lane says, I think Atleti will beat Chelsea 2-1 and go through 2-2 on away goals. Antico Suarez will score, but Chelsea will win 2-1. Lewis will probably score. Anam says, I want Mount in Liverpool. He will suit the system, I think. What was your thoughts, Alex? Mount is Chelsea through and through. There's no way he's ever going to come to Liverpool. A funny comment here from Ant. I mean, I was actually at the Madrid games, both home and away last season, with the Kop TV. And the first leg, I mean, up in the gods there at the Wanda, we were so lackluster. I think we had, yeah, it is for sure. But I don't think we had one shot on target in that game, and we lost 1-0. And then when we came back to Anfield, Ant's right, we absolutely battered them all over the pitch. But Oblak just played out of his skin. And when you make that many saves, the confidence of the other team goes down. And Atleti hit us with 2 goals in the last kind of 5 minutes. And Dico also saying that Gomez is back training outside with a ball. And so is Van Dijk, apparently. He's posted about his recovery on Instagram. And David is going for 1-1. And now we have got another question, a few here from Ali A. Thank you for all of these, mate. Mayo, we will definitely get into these later. So remember this question, we'll come back to it. But let's move on now to the Champions League draw, just quickly before we touch on match day mixer. Who would you want in the next round? Let's just say that Chelsea do the business tomorrow and they're in the next round. Who do you want, bro? Or who do you not want as well? Tough,
because the one team you would want are not going to get through, which is Mönchengladbach. They're just sad. That's just not. They're not going to get through. Let's put it this way: I would want to avoid Bayern and I would want to avoid City. I think anyone else, like over 2 legs, it's fair game. But I wouldn't want to go near. Not that I wouldn't want to go there, but if I didn't have to, Bayern and City for right now, leave it for later. Anyone else, I feel like over 2 legs, we're in that part now, and especially because we haven't got past this stage for 4 years. 4 years,
4 years, wow.
4 years we've been trying to get past this stage. So if we get past this stage now, it's like, okay, you know what? Whoever it is, bring it on. Like
I think
league. Every team is going to pose some sort of difficulty, but realistically, PSG are a good side. Don't get me wrong, but realistically, it's probably Bayern and City that you look at and go like, okay, over 2 legs, it could be very tricky.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to throw that back at you and say I think that's how we're feeling as well. Listen, we've had City in the Champions League. We've beaten them. We've beaten Bayern fairly recently on our way to win it. So, yeah, I mean, those two are the form teams that you probably, if you are going to play them, like to play them later on in the tournament. But, yeah, I feel the same, to be honest. Ant Dicker reminding us that Chelsea and Liverpool had such an incredible European rivalry, bro. From 2005 all the way to 2009, we played each other every single year in the Champions League. In the group stage, quarterfinal, semi-final, as we know,
really
some craziness, man.
Really,
and that's kind of where my disdain for Chelsea maybe started, bro, to be honest with you. But Dot44 says Porto would be the easiest. I don't know, they've just knocked out Juve. Everyone wants Porto or Dortmund. I mean, again, Dortmund have Haaland. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Phil Banda says it's going to be a Chelsea-Liverpool draw. You heard it here first. Love that. Right, let's get on to Matchday Mixer, bro, because before the show, I asked you to send over your Matchday Mixer. Now, obviously, as you know, we can't go to the stadium right now. So I thought I'd bring the 5 best bits of the Matchday experience to you. So that is trainers, jacket, food, drink, and music. These are all 5 vital things that we all do on match day, whether you like it or hate it. So these are some great choices, to be honest, brother. I can't lie to you. I mean, if I had to pick my own match day mixer, it would not be far from this whatsoever. But we're going to get into this now. Please let us know in the comments what you think of this edition of Match Day Mixer. We're going to start off with the jacket. Now, obviously, when you are going to football matches, I think even when it is warm in this country, you still do need a jacket because it's going to be cold on the stands, whatever the weather, in my opinion. But we've gone for an absolute classic here. It's the Stone Island jacket. I mean, this is, to be fair, the producer might have just had this picture on deck, but this is more of a hoodie / jacket. But it's definitely going to still keep you warm. Talk us through your choice here, bro.
Yeah, this is more sort of the traditional / easy on fashion item, right? It's functional. It's still, designer somewhat, but functional. And you kind of know what time it is when you're in Stone Island at match day sort of mode.
Jeez, it's just clarify that for us.
It's just, getting the zone sort of mode and just be ready for it. Let me tell you this. I grew up in Bermondsey, so take from that and Stone Island as
wow.
But yeah, no, it's just functional, man. Like I feel like when you're going to matches, it's about, like you said, being warm. Like I've been to some games and I've been like, oh my gosh, what is this? I remember I think it was last season. I went down to the Amex. Oh my word, it's like the stadium hill. And then the stadiums that are a bit low as well, so just the gust just comes through. It's terrible. So you got to be warm. You got to be warm, and the Stony will probably get it done. To be fair.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. To be honest, I think when I went to Chelsea in the Cup last season, one of the last games before COVID, I wore a Stony and probably fitted in more with the Chelsea fans than the Liverpool fans, to be honest. But let's get on to the next one here. You've gone with a pair of Adidas Gazelles, an absolute terrace classic. You really can't get more kind of football away day or home day than this. Talk us through this one, bro.
Again, functional, goes well with the jeans, and it just allows you to sort of, if it's the black with the black stone, you're still in uniform, but you're, somewhat stylish. And I'm an Adidas man as well. So like a lot of people are sort of like Air Max and Air Force in terms of.
It's quite rare to be an Adidas man.
I'm an Adidas man. Yeah. It's just
because I am as well. I would call myself an Adidas man. Like I love the handball specials. those kind of silhouettes there, I'm all over them. But yeah, I think it's most people now, I think, are just too concerned with looking drippy and buying Air Jordan 1s, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, the Jordan sort of like Jordan's with the colorways and throwbacks are sort of restoring the feeling. But I mean, if you were to wear like a pair of Jordans to a football match, I would say you're very brave. That's probably not the environment to to step out in those. But I've just always been Adidas. I feel like when everyone was doing, because I'm quite tall, right?
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2", and I've got like size 11 feet. So like, if I'm to wear like an Air Force, it looks like a brick. And it's like, whereas like a Gazelle or a Special or like an NMD, when those were popping, like, you can still make
your NMDs, man.
Literally, you can still make your foot look somewhat small compared to like an Air Force. So yeah, that's my preference.
Do you know what? I have to say, I'm 6'3", yeah, and I'm a size 10. And I think once you go from size 10 to 11 on certain shoes, it can look a little bit clown footy.
Yeah,
but it's not 9 to 10. It's always 10 to 11 because I've got some trainers in 11s, and when I put them on, I'm like, it's a little. Do you know what I mean, bro? It's just,
I get you.
A fine line. But yeah, they're your trainers. Great choices so far. David reminding us that Klopp has an Adidas contract, which is weird as Liverpool are with Nike now. But Klopp, being the German man that he is, has got himself the Adidas contract. And Jamie Lane saying TNs for him again in Liverpool, very popular and a big staple. But let's get on to your music now.
Yes.
Again, this guy who you've chosen, I've been listening to today. I mean, I've already sent you some of his lyrics earlier from his latest tune, Dollars and Pounds with Cashtastic. But you have chosen one of the names really in UK rap, especially in the last year, come out of nowhere. And you know, I think this picture is from a shoot with Burberry, so he must be doing something right. It's Birmingham's finest, Millions.
Yeah, it is. You see, with Millions, like I just always have like an admiration for people that can sort of path their own lane, and like this is someone that literally not out of nowhere, but like dropped and kept dropping, and everyone was like, "What on earth is this flow? Like this is crazy." And then you got
the flow is unreal.
It's nuts, and then you've got people trying to copy it and emulate, and it's not the same. And the work rate, the visuals, and everything, and it's not just that. It's like the outreach, going to Ghana, going to like Kenya, doing like stuff with the community and everything. Like just everything in terms of his music and everything he does is just proper switched on. And the lyrics, like everything he does is sick. And he's got a good team behind him as well, because to kind of have that output at that rate and that level of consistency means that there's some good people in that camp. But yeah, Millions is sick artist, man. If you don't listen to him, check him out. He's dope still.
Yeah, big up to Millions. Like I said, just put a tune out of Cashtastic. Listening to that earlier today, so go and check that out. Let's get on to your food, bro. This is where me and you are very, very similar, my friend. This is what I choose as well. We've gone for the barbecue chicken wings. For me personally, my favorite food. I'm not going to lie to you. We've had barbecue wing competitions on this channel before, so that's when you know it's serious. These ones are banging as well, to be fair. I can't lie. I'm very, very hungry right now as well. Talk to me about these. I mean, when you're going to the game, is there a particular place that you like to get your wings from? And is it always barbecue sauce? That's a very important question.
No, so I'm a buffalo, barbecue, hot and spicy, you name it. It just depends. But wings are just a go-to, like I feel like you can have wings in any like occasion, like match day. It just makes it easy. And to be fair, it's that perfect thing that if you get it right, you won't eat too much, and you can keep your stomach all right. So wings is a go-to. Like I feel like sometimes if you're going on everything and then you're buying like a proper meal and everything, it can go a bit left. Like 60th minute, you're thinking, "Oh, I might need to go to the toilet here and stuff." So
yeah, trust me. Yeah, no, listen, wings are a great choice. Nice and easy on the go. A bit messy on the old fingers, but listen, that's why you have.
That's why you've got the wipes and the antibac.
There you go, bro. You're on the same. Oh, come on, we're on the same wave there. Now, obviously, you've got to wash that down. A lot of people on this show have come on and said that they drink lager. Some have even said whiskey, especially if it's a bad game or if it's cold. They might have a little whiskey to warm themselves up.
Hip flask.
A little, yeah, no, literally, bro. I've been to enough games with my cousin who carries a little hip flask. There's been a lot. There's been water. There's been juice. You've gone for. I mean, you specified brown rum. The producer has sent over spice rum, which for me is actually my favorite. To be honest, like this is my favorite drink. To be real. This with a bit of ice, a lime, and some Coke. Love that. Talk to me about your likeness for spiced or just rum in general there.
I was going to say, you can't really go wrong with a rum.
Yeah, you can't go rum.
Can't go wrong. It's just literally any sort of mood setting. It's just like a perfect drink. It does what it needs to do, keeps you warm, keeps you merry. And yeah, it's just, I mean, if you want to down it, you can down it. If you want to sip it slow, you can sip it slow. It's the functional drink. It's like literally, it's like the Stony. It's just functional and does what it needs to do. Nothing too elaborate. Doesn't look too elaborate. Hopefully, the price isn't too elaborate, depending on where you are. So yeah, no, it does what it needs to do, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. 100%. I'm flying that flag as well.
That's me.
Yeah. Asian Pops, big up to you, my bro. He's a regular on the channel. Come on, Exo Mount Gay, love that. Ade, who regularly comes on the channel as well. He's a whiskey man. He likes his Mount Gay. Jamie Lano, he says juice, not old enough to drink. Good man. That's what juice we like to see.
Can't go wrong with an apple juice.
Ian J. Brandy says Mitchell, love that. And David's going for wings and beer, which is equally fun. There you go then. That is your match day mixer, bro. That's an incredible selection. Let's get on now to Would You Rather. The first question I have for you as a Chelsea fan is, would you rather Lampard comes back and replaces Tuchel next season, or he never manages Chelsea ever again? Now, there's a lot of Chelsea fans who are obviously still heartbroken about Lampard getting sacked. They're saying, well, you know, maybe in 5-10 years he could come back. Not in this game, mate. Not in Would You Rather on top of the Kops. He either comes back and Tuchel's out the door, or Tuchel stays and Lampard can never manage Chelsea again. Would you rather?
You see, with this year, I'm obviously, as you know, I'm a writer as well, innit? So like, I'm taking what you said literally, and I'm going to give you the answer. I would go that Lampard never manages Chelsea again, but that doesn't mean that he can't come back and be a director of football, because you've just said manager here, so he can come back in a different, you know.
He wouldn't want. The only way he'd want to come back is manager, bro. You know that he doesn't want to be director upstairs.
He's one of those people, right, where like he just had a little boy, yesterday. Yeah. He's going to take some time out. He's going to come back into management, and I still think he's going to be a good manager. He's going to kind of have that period where he has to have that foundation. I feel like with Derby, that was a bit high profile because it was out of nowhere. You know, got the Chelsea job, did what he was asked to do in that first season. But when you're in that high pressure environment, I feel like you're not getting a lot of time to learn. You're learning as you go along. And of course, this club is the club it is. So the end of the road was always going to be that. It's just that you almost deceive yourself that it's not going to happen because it's him. And that's why he didn't.
So just to be clear, you're saying in this equation, it's Tuchel stays and Lampard never comes back to manage.
I would say that.
Fair play. I respect that. I respect that. David here. As a Red, I dream of Frank replacing Tuchel. Let's get on to the next one. This one is a real test for you, bro. I want you to choose one of 3 partnerships here. Partnership 1 is Didier Drogba and Robbie Fowler. Partnership 2, Costa and Suarez. Jesus. And partnership 3 is Mr. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Mo Salah. You can have one partnership out of these 3. And remember, they're all at their prime as well. They're all at their primes. Who are you going for, man?
Man, I grew up on Jimmy Floyd. You know, I have a special affinity with Jimmy Floyd. Like, I actually grew up on him. Like, auto glass days watching Chelsea. None of this sort of new age where everything was nice and sparkling.
That was before the money. Come on.
Literally, you know about stoppage time. Hold that stoppage time. They
come on, man.
Guys always dropping jokes that back in the day when Chelsea were about to get evicted from the stadium and there was the racing track and everything, the Greyhound track, like old school Chelsea that people don't know about. Like, I've been supporting Chelsea for a while. But in terms of this one, I'm gonna have to go A, and the reason is because Drogba is King Drogba. I feel like a lot of people didn't appreciate Drogba in his prime of what he was doing. This guy was scoring an amazing amount of goals. He was scoring all different kinds of goals as well. He was bringing in people in. And in terms of Robbie Fowler, like this is someone that
Bro, he came onto the scene in a disgusting way.
When we talk about
Disgusting.
finishers, when we talk about like star boys, like I know we've got loads of wonder kids and star boys now, but when we're talking about star boys,
OG star boys,
oh my word,
bro,
it was unheard of. So
the numbers that he was putting on the board for a an 18-year-old at the time, in a way, I mean, listen, you've picked a great option there. You can't really deny Drogba and Fowler. What a partnership that would be. Fowler flicking them around the corner for Big Didier. But I think there's always something that makes me sad about watching how Robbie Fowler kind of left Liverpool in the first time, and then how he kind of kept up his level at Man City. Because if you go back to 2003 to 2006 when he rejoins Liverpool.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I think both my mics run out, so we'll go with no mics. But yeah, great choice there. But it's sad for me to see Fowler kind of not really get the flowers that he might deserve.
Yeah, it is. I feel like that's the problem with like the peak of people's careers, right? Sometimes they can be quite long lasting. Sometimes they can be quite long, but the peak is what people only remember. And because of that, like people may oversee or not kind of take in how important it was or the important moments, or because so much happens in football, right? We're quick to forget some things. I was having this, I know it's not Chelsea, Liverpool, but I was having this conversation about how Benzema has been the striker at Real Madrid for a decade. That is greatness. And I think he's only probably had one bad season. One. But because of like Ronaldo, the BBC and everything, people only say now, oh my gosh, he's the main man, he's doing everything now. And it's like, no, go and look at what this guy's been doing in his career. He is like amazing, but people will only remember the whole sort of now when we talk about it in a few years, it'll be like, oh, when Ronaldo left, you see what Benzema was doing? He was dragging them because they had no other players, they had no Galacticos, the youth weren't doing well, he was doing everything. It's like, that's true, but what about the rest of the story? And I feel like that is a story of these two gentlemen. Of course, Drogba had some seasons where he wasn't, as prolific. Of course, people say stuff like, Drogba, didn't, but Drogba wasn't taking pens like that. Drogba was, and what he did with his all-round game and the goals that contributed to stuff, this guy is like the definition of the big game player.
For sure.
Like, that so for me, that partnership works. That partnership works really well. The other two partnerships are interesting. The middle partnership is like,
that's fiery.
Oh man. if you manage to get 10 games out of those two actually playing with each other in their primes, then you've done a good job. And then the other one, unorthodox, but what a partnership that is as well. Like with Jimmy Floyd just whistling them in, roof in the net, and then Salah pretty much doing the same. So yeah.
I have to say, now listen, that's why I picked them, mate, because they are a good partnership. So yeah, interesting to see your answer there, bro. Thanks for that. Let's quickly touch on our top of the Kops moments of the week then. In at number 2, it's the fact, really, I mean, there hasn't been too much good news for Liverpool, to be honest with you. But the fact that we're in the draw for Friday's quarter-final makes us happy. Obviously, we hope we can get the best draw as possible. But top of the Kops moment of the week, again, not too much to pick from, I can't lie to you guys. But what I'm going with is the headline of the show, and it's this partnership that is beginning to gain some momentum now. It's Kabak and Philllips, hopefully together now for the end of the season. But maybe, as you saw Ant Dicko say earlier, maybe we could see Gomez back or Van Dijk back as well. Let's get into a couple questions, and then we will say goodbye to our guest today. But Yassine, bro, asks, can Chelsea win both the FA Cup and the Champions League this season, just like we did in 11-12?
I hope so, man. I really do. Like, at the end of the day, I've said that top 4 and a trophy is the minimal requirement. If we just kind of put things into context, did our manager get to the Champions League final last year, therefore knows how to get to the Champions League final? Tick. is the squad good enough over 2 legs to beat teams that are in the draw? I believe so. It's not about blowing teams over. It's about making sure that on aggregate you can go through. So why not? I don't know if it's going to happen, but why not? Why couldn't we? Why couldn't we win both?
We'll see if Liverpool have anything to do with that, especially in the Champions League. Ali A, Ryo, what was it like to interview football players? So, just if people don't know, you've got a great kind of role there at Versus as a presenter, and you get to interview the likes of Curtis Jones, Jordan Henderson. Talk to us about what it's like speaking to those guys.
Yeah, do you know what? It's funny because with Versus, of course, my role enables me to sort of speak to footballers. But even with Stoppage Time, with how we've grown that, we've had Carlton Cole on, and he was talking about the whole situation with John Terry. And speaking to footballers it's interesting. What you realize is even though we watch these guys, you know, we magnify everything they do. It's like all amazing. They are just normal human beings. And like with me, the type of way I like to have conversations with footballers is that just bring it back to reality. We don't have to kind of make it about the game and the analysis. Like, let's just talk on a personal level, and you learn so much about them as individuals and why they're so relatable to loads of young kids. Like with Curtis Jones, when me and him spoke, he was talking about like the moment of like scoring against Everton, then just going to his grand's house and just chilling, having a cup of tea afterwards. Like, typically you probably think that because it's, you know, a young player who's done that, it's going to be wild, it's going to be all this thing. No, just normal. And yeah, it is refreshing to kind of see that a lot of footballers now, maybe because of all of the content that's going out, people doing different things, footballers, not all, but a lot more are just open to being real and being themselves. And that's why we get to see this unique insight. We get to understand them a bit more. We get to have conversations with them online. So long may it continue. But it's cool. It's interesting just to understand these people who are at that level, how they got there and what makes them them, really.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some of Liverpool's ex-players on this channel, and once you get talking to them and you're holding a nice conversation, you're asking the right things. Yeah, you're right. They do come out of their show and show you how normal they are, really. So it's about the same for anyone kind of famous that you talk to, in my experience anyway. But listen, bro, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been a real pleasure to understand a bit more about your football preferences, the fact that you like the barbecue wings on a match day, much like myself. But guys, please, towards the end of the show right now, please go and follow Mayo in the description. His Instagram is there. And I will stick in Stoppage Time's YouTube as well, because I know that's something that you'll be keen to push. And hopefully I can come on your show soon as well, bro.
No, we already said we'll get it set up. I mean, we've had maybe you can break the curse. We had Craig Mitch come on saying that Spurs will win the league, and they just fell off. We had Paul Sterling come on and say Liverpool would win the next 7 titles, and yeah, you're not winning the title this season. So maybe you can come on and bring a bit of, you know, perspective.
Yeah, I mean, my record on watch-alongs at the minute is getting better. It was awful. It's getting better. So yeah, I will take you up on that, bro. I'll see you very soon. Guys, if you're watching this now, please remember to show us some love. As I said at the top of the show, drop us a little like, comment, and please do subscribe if you haven't already. The next time we will be back on the channel, so it's Tuesday today. We're actually launching a competition this week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And we're also doing a special feature, 1 year on a documentary, a mini film documenting how things haven't really gone to plan in the last year, especially since COVID. But that's all to come. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Take care. All the best. We'll see you soon.